Good morning, students. So, I hope I have given you some introduction about lesson plan uh, last year in our class. So, you should write a lesson plan for prose, poetry, grammar, and composition. So, in this video, I am going to tell you how to write lesson plan format for prose, and for poetry, I will give you another video. Uh, the pattern will be the same for all the prose, poetry, grammar, and composition, but the steps which are involved inside the lesson plan will be different for each prose, poetry, and everything will be different. So I have already given you the steps to write lesson plan. uh, this video will help you to understand in a better way. Okay, so the first step in writing a lesson plan is framing objectives. You know very well that there are two types of objective. One is general objective, the other one is specific objective. And also I have given you what is general and specific objective. General objective is common for all the prose lesson, and the specific objective is specially designed for the lesson which you are going to teach for your students. Okay, are you clear? So general objective means it will be common for all the prose. If you are teaching prose, the general objective will be the same for all the prose lesson. When it comes to specific objective, you should frame specific objective for each and every lesson which you are going to teach. Okay, and there are so many objectives, general and specific objective, which you can choose for teaching a lesson. General objective, for example, acquire the knowledge about the development of language, understand the passage and grasp the subject matter, enrich the style of language, appreciate the style of language, develop the four language skill, namely, and develop the express the ideas. You can write whatever objective you want to teach for a student. So it can be common. When it comes to specific objective, you should choose objective from the lesson which you are going to teach. For example, recall the information about the lesson means you should make the students to recall the information from the lesson which you are going to teach. Okay, and then the second one, spell the words, such as you can choose some difficult words from the lesson, and you should make the students to spell those particular words, and also you can teach the meanings of the difficult words which is given in the lesson, and read the lesson with proper pronunciation, stress, intonation. You should make your students to read the lesson with proper stress and intonation. Okay, so these are the specific objective which I have selected for you, and you can select your own specific objective. This is not the thing which you should write compulsorily. So you can frame your own objective for your students. Okay, and this is the way, if this is the way how you should write objective. You should divide two columns, and one side will be general objective and the other side will be specific objective. And you can see the line, the pupil will be able to. So the pupil will be able to acquire the knowledge, the pupil will be able to understand the passage, the pupil will be able to enrich the style of the language. So that the pupil will be able to is the continuation of the points. Okay, don't think why the pupil will be able to is there in the top. So it is the first line, and the point number 1, 2, 3, 4 or the thing which will join in the pupil will be able to. Okay, or is it clear? So this is how you should write general and specific objective. Okay, and the next thing is you should write the teaching aids which you have selected for teaching that particular lesson, and you should write the name of the textbook, and also you should write the reference book which you have selected for teaching this particular class. Okay, so teaching aids, minimum 3 teaching aid you should use, and maximum you can use any number of teaching aids. So minimum you should choose 3 teaching aid, and maximum you can choose any number of teaching aid. And textbook, you should write the name of the textbook, that is Tamil Nadu Textbook Corporation English textbook, standard 6th or 7th or 8th or 9th or 10th. Okay, so this is how you should write the textbook name. So if it is state board, you should write Tamil Nadu Textbook Corporation. If it is CBSE or IC International Curriculum, you can write the name of the textbook which is given in your book. Okay, and in reference section you should write one standard dictionary's name. Okay, so I have given you Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary. That is a standardized dictionary for everyone in the world. So you can choose, you can write that dictionary, or else if you have another standard dictionary means you can also write that name. But you should write the exact name of the dictionary. You should not write Oxford Dictionary. Okay, there is no dictionary called as Oxford Dictionary. There is the name of the dictionary will be Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary, or Oxford Learners Dictionary, or Oxford Pronunciation Dictionary. So the name, you should write the exact name of the book. You should not simplify the name of the book. Okay, so this is the second thing which you should write in writing the lesson plan. Okay, next, this is the beginning of writing the lesson plan, and in this you should draw 4 columns. You should draw 4 columns. The first column is specification, the second column is content, the third column is learning experiences, and the fourth column is evaluation. Okay, so specification, content, learning experience, and evaluation. So again, what is specification, what is content, what is learning experience, what is evaluation? So specification is nothing but the action which is used in the learning experience column. So whatever action involved in the learning experience both by the teacher and student, that should be written in the specification column. Okay, in content, content means what is the content which we are going to teach. For example, you should write the lines of the prose, poetry, all those things in the content column. And learning experience means what the teacher is doing and what the students are doing, that is learning experience. What is the teacher doing and what is the students response, that is learning experience. In evaluation column, you should ask some questions from the thing which you have taught in learning experience. Okay, so the first step is motivation. You know very well, the first step in teaching of prose is motivation. So motivation, you should write the teacher motivates the students by showing a model. And again in learning experience, you should write the teacher asks the students some question to test their previous knowledge using the model. Okay, so you can write whatever method the teacher is making use of. If the teacher is showing a model, you should write the teacher shows a model and ask the students some question. If the teacher is telling some stories in motivation column, you can write the teacher motivates the students by telling a short story, like that you can ask. Okay, and then in learning experience column, you should ask the question which was asked by the teacher during motivation. So only in motivation you should not ask question in the evaluation column. In this motivation question should come in learning experience column. Why? Because it is recollection of the previous knowledge. Okay, the teacher asks the questions to check the previous knowledge of the student, so you can ask some question in the learning experience itself. Okay, so this is the first step, motivation. In content column also, you should write the teacher motivates the students by showing a model. Again in learning experience column also, you should write the teacher motivates the students by showing by asking some question to test their previous knowledge through the model. So how in content column you are telling that the teacher motivates the students by asking some question, or by showing a model, or by telling a story. In learning experience column, how the teacher is motivating the students. Okay, you should write the exact way of your motivation, that is learning experience. In evaluation, you no need to write in motivation part. There's no need to write in motivation part for evaluation column. Okay, so this is the first step in writing of prose. And the second step in writing lesson plan for prose is presentation of the lesson. That is the second major step, presentation of the lesson. Under presentation of the lesson, we have different types of we have different steps. We have different steps under presentation of the lesson. So in presentation of the lesson, we have the first one called as announcement of the title. Announcement of the title. So here the teacher should announce the title. In learning experience column, you should write the teacher announces the title and writes the title on the blackboard. The teacher announces the title and writes the title on the blackboard. Again in content, you should write the title, what is the title of the lesson you are going to teach. Okay, so that is the first step in presentation of the lesson. The second step in presentation of the lesson is gist of the passage. So the teacher should give the gist of the passage in a simple language. So again in gist of the passage, you should write the gist in a smaller way in content column. In content column, you should write the small gist of the passage. That gist can go for 4 to 5 lines. It can go for 4 to 5 lines. So in gist of the passage, in content column you should write 4 to 5 lines about the gist of the thing which you are going to teach. Okay, in learning experience you can write learns, the students will be learning the gist of the passage, learns the gist of the passage. Okay, in learning experience you should write simply the teacher gives the gist of the lesson in a simple language. No need to write anything else. You just write the teacher gives the gist of the lesson in a simple language, and you can use, or you can write the teaching aid which is used for telling the gist. So whenever you are using the teaching aid in your classroom, you should write the name of the teaching aid in the learning experience column, and at what stage you are writing, you are using the teaching aid. Okay, you should mention the teaching aid which you are using, and at what stage you are using, at what step you are using. Okay, and the next step is model reading by the teacher. Model reading by the teacher. And in content column you should write the first line of the passage which you are going to read. No need to write all the lines. You just write 1 or 2 words and then keep some dot dot dot, and then you can write the last word of the passage. No need to write the full paragraph. You just write 1 or 2 words from the beginning of the passage and then the last words of the beginning of the passage. That's it. And in learning experience column you should write the teacher reads the passage with correct pronunciation, stress, intonation, and follows the use of punctuation marks. So this is what you should write in learning experience column. In specification column, when the teacher is reading, giving the model reading, what will the students do? The student will listen, or the student will observe. So you can use whatever action word which is apt for that, for this step. Okay, during model reading by the teacher, the students will be obviously listening to the teacher. So the specification column will be listens or observes. Okay, and after model reading, the next step is explanation and eliciting responses. This is the important step in teaching of prose. Okay, this is the very important step in teaching of prose. Why? Because this is the part where the teacher will be explaining the content which is going to be taught. So explanation and eliciting responses is the heading of this step. And in learning experience column you should write the teacher explains the paragraph with the help of some teaching aid, and students listens attentively. So this is what you should write in the learning experience column. And after that you should write some important meanings. You should write meanings and difficult words, and you can also ask some questions. So after explaining, no need to write the explanation part anywhere. Okay, no need to write the explanation part anywhere because it is understood. No need to write some paragraph here. You just write the teacher explains the paragraph with the help of some teaching aid and the students listen attentively. And after this you should write what is the teaching aid used here, what is the teaching aid used here, and then you should teach some meaning. So when you are explaining a paragraph, you will be teaching some meaning of the difficult words which is present in that paragraph, right? So the teacher gives the meaning of the difficult words. You can write it in learning experience column, the word and its meaning, some 2 or 3 or 4 words you can write. And in evaluation column you can ask the questions about the meaning which you have thought. Okay, so I will send you some images of the previous model lesson plan, and after seeing that models you will get a better understanding. But this explanation part is very important, and it should go in a lengthy way. You should write so many things here. You should write meanings, and you can ask some questions. Eliciting responses means I have told in the heading is there, no, explanation and eliciting responses. So eliciting responses means after giving some explanation, the teacher should ask some questions to the students to elicit their response. The teacher should ask some questions to the students. So again, in learning experience column you should write the teacher evaluates the students' understanding by asking the following question. You can ask 2 or 3 questions, and also you can write the answers in the learning experience column. So this is the explanation and eliciting response. I will send you the images of some of the model lesson plan. You will get better understanding. Next is loud reading by the student. So this is the next step, and you should write all the headings in the content column. You should write all the headings in the content column, and in learning experience column you should write the teacher asked the students to come forward and read the paragraph aloud with the correct pronunciation, stress, intonation, etc. So loud reading by the student means you should make one of the students to come forward and read in front of all the students. So that is loud reading by the student. And in specification column you should write reads loudly, or reads is enough, no need of loudly and all. You can write if you want. And the next step is silent reading by the student. So this should come after loud reading by the student. So silent reading by the student means the teacher asks the students to read the passage silently without disturbing others. The teacher should make all the students to read the paragraph silently. So that is the next step after loud reading. Next is application. So in this step the teacher should make the students to apply the difficult words which are taught in the explanation part. So when the teacher is explaining, when the teacher explains something in explanation part, the teacher will also have given the example or meaning of the difficult words, right? So in this application part the student should be able to apply those difficult words in their own sentences. That is what frame sentences using the following words. I have given just the heading. You should frame questions under it. Okay, so here the students are made to apply the difficult words in their own sentences. That is application part. You can frame sentences, or you can give some you can ask them to match the following, or you can ask them to rearrange the sentence. So application part you can ask any type of exercises. So this is the application part. And the next is global questioning. In global questioning you should not ask questions from the book back. You should ask questions on your own. So from the theme of the lesson or from the central idea of the lesson you should choose some questions. So you can ask the questions in the learning experience column, and also you can write the answers in the learning experience column. So this is the step which will come at the end. This global question is the last step of teaching of prose. Okay, and the last thing is review assignment. In review you should write what are the important points which you have discussed in this class. So in review part you should write the important points which the teacher has given in the sentence, in the lesson. And in assignment part you should ask 2 or 3 questions like home assignment. So you should give 2 or 3 questions like home assignment. So review and assignment should be given at the end, and you should sign signature of the student teacher. You should sign, and signature of the guide teacher, the teacher from the school where you are going for teaching practice will sign there. So this is the last page of your lesson plan format in Prose. So this is somewhat a brief introduction about the lesson plan, and I will share the pictures of the model lesson plans to you so that you will be getting a better understanding. After watching this video you just go through the model lesson plan pages and you will get better understanding. Okay, thank you.